I guess some of the early stuff kind of wouldn't be relevant here because in the UK and Ireland, we didn't get NWA and that kind of stuff. So the first time people might have seen you was the 1991 Royal Rumble, where you teamed with your dad, Dusty Rhodes, against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Virgil. So you're like young, just got into wrestling, and immediately you're placed with your dad in this big pay-per-view match against DiBiase. What are your memories of that, and how tough was that?
Memories are great, man, but I got the call from Dad. Vince wasn't the one who called me. He was like, Dad called me from the road because he was working there. I wasn't. And he said, hey, man, Vince wants to bring you in and work this angle with Ted DiBiase and Virgil and put you in the Royal Rumble with me as your tag team partner. I'm like, oh, my God, that's great. Yes, sir. I'm right there. When do you need me, Following Monday, they did the angle with DiBiase where I was sitting on the front row, and he bought off all the front row fans there and sat down next to me, and I'm watching Dad wrestle Randy Savage, one of the best in the world. And it's just awesome, man. And I'm doing my part, and I keep getting up and cheering like a mark that I am. And Ted keeps pulling me down in my seat. So finally, one thing led to another, and over the rail I go. He picks up one of those wooden chairs, and Virgil's holding me. God dang it, man. Virgil's as stiff as boards. He's terrible. He's terrible. Teddy can hit you and you won't feel it. Virgil hits you and knocks you through the door. It's bad. And here comes Teddy, the worker that he is, the professional that he is, and he did a straight shot with the chair right to my head, and it split me open, and this was the first time that I've gotten a hard way. And I was like, oh, God, and I went down, and I felt this warm rush over my face, and the blood just was coming everywhere. He didn't mean to actually hit me in the head, but he did. So Dad covers me up. And he's like, oh, my God, my boy, Jesus, you hurt my boy. It was very emotional for the fans and for the television crowd. They yanked up the mics really loud, so it made an impact. It was very impactful. You're with family, you know what I mean? So we brought it into the Royal Rumble, and to tag with my dad and against a legend that is Ted DiBiase was freaking great.
Well, not just that, not just teaming with your dad and not just facing Ted DiBiase. You got to be in the ring with Virgil. I mean, that's not a lot of people get to say that they were. I mean, what are your memories of Virgil?
Virgil was full of himself. Now, at this stage in my career, I probably have, 3 years in the business, 2.5 maybe. I already knew way more than Virgil. But me being taught growing up to respect my elders and get into the business and keep my mouth shut and learn as much as I could, while Virgil was talking, I listened and, okay, yes, sir, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, none of this is happening. I'm going to stand there with Ted DiBiase. Get away from me, Virgil. That's probably one of the only things that I remember. No, there is another. Hold on. The locker room scene. Everybody knows this. Virgil has a horse. I mean, a baby's arm holding an apple. This is big, and he walks out of the showers all the time, and it's slapping his legs back and forth. And I put some clothes on Virgil. That's what I remember. That's what I remember of Virgil. Is that he was a in the ring, but he had a gigantic dick. That's all I got for Virgil.
It took you 6 minutes to bring up a big on this show.
Are you looking at a clock or something?
I need to be keeping time here. I don't want these people to not be able to get the last train home. I mean, okay, let's keep the theme going. Was Virgil the biggest dick in wrestling? But that's, it carries multiple. Did Virgil have the biggest dick in wrestling? Do you want to know who had the biggest dick in wrestling? Yeah! Who? Out them.
What's with all the dick talk?
You started it.
You asked me what I remembered of Virgil, and that's it. Okay, there is somebody that's big. There's a couple of people bigger than him. in WCW when I was Dustin Rhodes, and I was done wrestling, and I'm leaving the building, and I walk out the back door, and there's a car right next to the back door, and Too Cold Scorpio is leaned up against the car, and this young lady is on her hands and knees, and I look, and all I see is this gap between her face and his body, and he is destroying this poor girl's mouth, destroying it. I mean, obliterating the back of her throat. It was terrible, and he smoked a lot, so he was like, "Hey man, what's up? Yeah man, okay, I see you tomorrow." I'm just thinking to myself, and then I go to the car and I'm going, what the why do the black guys get the big dicks?
It's the eternal question that we all think about. So from Big Black Dick to how was the show with Dustin Rhodes? Talked about black. So you go to WCW and you're the natural Dustin Rhodes. You're doing your own gimmick, but again you get to team with your dad, and you get to be involved in WarGames, and you get to do all this cool stuff there. Did the WCW stuff fit better for you, do you think, than WWF with Dusty and the lineage there, and that was maybe what you were more used to than WWF? How did those two kind of? Because you team with your dad both times. What was there one that was more fitting than the other for you?
Well, I grew up with WCW and watching WCW and World Class Championship Wrestling and Florida Championship Wrestling. I didn't watch WWF a lot. I knew who the big names were up there, but there were more territories back at that time. So there was a lot of places where the guys would go so they could learn their craft. But Dad mainly stuck to the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia area, and started booking and working as the boss under WCW and NWA back at that time. I love WCW. To me, it was wrestling. Today, WWE, to me, it's just pure entertainment. It's not wrestling. I love the wrestling and the actual sport of it and telling a story in the match. So that's what I could say about the differences between the two right now.
You were part of the original WarGames matches. How were they
Y'all
to
remember
work?
the WarGames matches? Yeah?
How were those to work? And I mean, 2 rings, the cage, a lot of different elements to it. Is that a lot harder for you? Do you have any specific memories of working those matches?
I do, man. It was probably in my top 3 of matches of all times was when I was with Sting and Barry Windham and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Nikita Koloff as Sting's squadron against the Dangerous Alliance of, Steve Austin, Arn, Larry Zbyszko. And man, it was incredible. I mean, to be involved from what I used to watch with Dad, and now here I am performing in this kind of match with the double cage and the roof over it, Today's ring doesn't have the roof on there because of the danger and the concussion that they sling around so crazy. And it was so much fun because we utilized the top of that cage. When I'm giving somebody a front ass bump or something like that, they hit their head on the top of the cage, and it just makes it's more impactful. It's great. But to get in there and wrestle like with Steve Austin, when him and I were both very, very hungry, and we're both bleeding like stuck pigs, man, and just tearing down the house. I mean, they were going crazy. It was a very exciting match. The people were involved. They were there. The story was driven. And it was fun to be a part of.
There's this weird thing where if you go back and you look at WCW in that time period, in like 92, you have Mick Foley, Steve Austin, you, Paul Heyman, who goes on to do ECW. It seemed like the future of wrestling was all there in WCW, and everybody left. Why do you think that WCW didn't see what they had in all of you and utilize you guys better?
I don't know, man, because back then I was very, very young. Dad was in charge. I was just doing what I was told and trying to learn and just gather up every piece of knowledge that I could from WCW and working there and becoming United States champion. But working with the likes of like Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Barry Windham, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Larry Zbyszko, those were my 5 teachers that taught me everything that I know today in the business. And I remember one night specifically, Arn and Bobby, are tag team champions. We're in the Omni in Atlanta, and me and Ricky Steamboat, I always want to sell in a match, but I'm not ready to yet. You know, I'm not like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He is the ultimate salesman. He will make you believe he is getting hurt. And it is very fun to stand on that apron this close, better than a front row seat, and watch it go down. And we're doing an hour match. And they were supposed to retain the titles that night. And here's where I f***ed up. About the 45-minute mark, I was selling that night. I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. I was selling that night. About the 45-minute mark, I start freaking out like I can't breathe or something. But to me, it was just, I was selling. Arn tells a different story. So I tag Ricky. Now, usually on WWE TV, when a guy gets tagged in for a hot tag, it does not last more than 2 minutes. It's very rare that that happens. So here he is. He's got 15 minutes to run a comeback. Okay? And he's doing everything he can, and Arn and Bobby, they're just calling on the fly. And it's like, you guys are going over tonight. We're putting you over. Keep running this comeback. We're going to put you over right here. So we switched the titles that night, and we weren't supposed to, but we did, and the place erupted. It was a great night, but it was because of me f***ing up and tagging early. That was part of my learning process. And those 5 teachers let me know it. They let me know it when we got to the back. Even though we were very excited, it was a learning experience for me. And the next time, and we started doing that a lot after that, but we got it closer to the 55, 56, 57 mark to where we had a little bit of leeway. It's fun times.
If Scott Hall had not went to WCW when he did, the NWO might not have taken off, but also it might have meant that you didn't get your WrestleMania moment, because originally it was supposed to be a Miami Street Fight at WrestleMania 12. He's leaving. So I just want to know everything that you can tell us about the Backlot Brawl with Rowdy Roddy Piper that ends up with you somehow having lingerie on underneath. Somebody enjoyed it. Because even Fiona, who's on our crew, she was saying this morning she hadn't watched that match. She watched it this morning.
Fiona hasn't watched that match? Are you kidding me? Everybody's watched
she
that
has
match.
now, but she watched it today, and we were on the plane coming over, and she said, you know, they were beating the shit out of each other in that match because it looks so real when you guys are doing it. So please just tell us everything about the match that led you to strip.
Okay. Well, like you said, it was supposed to be against Razor Ramon in Miami via satellite, you know, from WrestleMania in L.A. So Razor's gone. I'm wondering what I'm going to do here, you know, going into the WrestleMania season. We got like 3-4 weeks left, or 3 weeks. And Vince comes to me during TV, Monday Night Raw, and he says, Dustin, I need you on a plane with me and Roddy Piper and Bruce Pritchard tomorrow morning at so-and-so time on this airline. I said, yes, sir, you got it. Walks off. This is before we had all our travel departments and all this and that. This is when Vince actually still flew commercial. And yes, I'm old. I'm old. And so I get on the plane, and we're all sitting in first class, and nobody's really saying anything. They're just going about their business. You know, him and Vince and Bruce are sitting together. Roddy's in behind me. I'm sitting kind of over here by myself. And we get there to L.A. The only thing I know is that we're going to L.A. And we sit down for a meal, and he kind of explains what's going to happen. I'm sure Roddy knew because he had been in the business for so long, you know, and they were pretty tight and close. So Vince starts telling us what's going to go down over here down the street at Universal Studios later on this afternoon, and I'm like, oh, cool. So we start talking about it, and he's like, Dustin, this is for WrestleMania 12, and you're going to be facing Roddy Piper. You're not going to get any offensive moves on him but one during this whole day shoot today. And I'm like, okay, yes, sir, no problem. We get to the Universal, and I'm looking at all the setup and all the props that we have. the props meeting, he had a brand new, because it was the O.J. Simpson time with the police chasing the white Bronco. He had a brand new white Bronco the same year, just like O.J. Simpson. And they bought a piece of gold Cadillac and sprayed it, or, you know, a Cadillac and spray painted it gold for me. And I'm just like, how am I getting the into the stick here? And they brought in these extras that stand around movie sets, you know, and do absolutely nothing but cheer and this and that. So I'm looking to see what, I'm not talking to Roddy because these people are here. I believed very heavily in kayfabing and keeping secrets and not letting anybody into my business. And times have changed, man. So I'm looking to see, and I see this dumpster over here and this over here and boom, boom, boom. So the only thing I'm supposed to do here is Roddy Piper's going to kick my ass. I finally get a nut shot in. I get in my car. He rolls out of the way. I hit his Bronco and take off. That's kind of the gist of what's supposed to take place. So I spin out in the car, and I'm just practicing, you know, and I come around the corner. We're shooting now, and this is a one-take thing. We cannot do this twice because we're fixing some shit. And I pull around the corner, and I'm revving the engine, and he's got a baseball bat in his hand. He's looking at me, man, and I start revving the engine. And I take off towards him, and he picks up this giant fireman's water hose, and he starts squirting me like that's supposed to stop a car. But it does. It does. It stops the car. He picks up the bat and comes around the side and bashes in. Glass goes everywhere on my face because the windshield was so wet I couldn't see when he was actually hitting. And I was like, there's glass everywhere, so I crawl out the other side, and he meets me and commences to really hurt me. I mean, beat my ass. He hit me a couple times in the head with a baseball bat. The one thing about this match that I wanted to do was get some blood. And Vince McMahon said, absolutely not. You're not allowed to blade yourself and cut yourself and get some blood. I'm like, okay. So I went to Roddy before this all took place, and I said, Roddy, I want you to bust me open the hard way because I want blood in this. And it's one of those situations where your adrenaline's going, and you don't feel a lot, but it's very stiff and rugged, man. And I see the dumpster over here. I should have went and touched it before I had him throw me into it, because the mother was hard, and I hit my head so hard on that sumbitch, did not budge an inch. And he commences to continue to kick my ass and threw me on the hood of my spray-painted gold Cadillac. He mounts me on top, and I look up at him, and I say, do it now. And he pops me. But usually when you cut somebody open, there's a little soft spot right here in your eyebrow, and you just pop it and twist, and it'll bust right open. Well, he hit me square as hard as he could right in the forehead, man. And I'm like, God damn. And I'm feeling, right? Nothing's coming. I'm like, do it again. And he does the same thing and hits me right square in the forehead. You would think a veteran of Roddy Piper's stature would know how to bust somebody open the hard way, right? But he didn't. He hit me square in the forehead, and he broke his hand. If you watch it back, you can see what I'm talking about when he hits me right in the forehead, and you can, if you listen for it, you'll hear a pop. You'll hear a crack, and that was his hand. And I had a badass concussion. His hand's broken at this point. We can't stop. Finally, I roll off the car. Here's my one piece of offense that I get. I give him the old nut shot. He rolls out of the way. I jump in my car. I look down to see his white Bronco because I'm supposed to clip the side of it. He's standing in the middle of the way. And I'm revving my engine, and I take off, and I know Roddy's going to move out of the way, right? I know he's going to move out of the way. He's a professional. But we can't just stop and say, okay, move now, you know, and do this again. He's got to move, or I'm going to run him over. And I was probably going about 7, 8, 10 miles an hour, I guess. I don't know. And all of a sudden, his knees just went bam, and you hear them. You hear it, and you watch it back, like in that video I saw it, and you see his knees hit, right? And he grabs the top of the hood of the car there, and he's looking at me, and his eyes are as wide as saucers, man. And I'm looking at him like, oh my God, I just killed Hot Rod. Jesus Christ. I mean, man, please get the off my car. We can't stop now. We can't. He finally rolls off, but we've already passed the Bronco, so I didn't get to hit it. But instead, I clip another dumpster that was on the other side over there. The cameraman is running as I drive off, is running, trying to stop the dumpster from hitting the president's of Universal Studios Rolls Royce. With the camera in his hand, we're shooting. This is it's some 90s, right? I get back, and everybody, here's where I knew they were marks, the extras. They were cheering for me during this whole thing while they were around the catering table, and I'm just like, okay. So I walk in, and I want to watch this, and Vince is standing there, extras, and they're coming up to me, good job, and I'm not paying them any mind because I'm keeping it as real as possible. So they start watching, and I'm shaking my head, and I'm just acting, and I'm getting pissed off, and they shut down, and they get really quiet. Finally, the whole thing ends, and I get up, and I throw a chair and walk out, and they're talking to Vince. It's like, God damn, is he okay? Is this for real? And Vince is like, we got you, motherfuckers. You know, it was funny. But I go upstairs and talk to Roddy, and we hug, man. But we both, Vince and Bruce, take us to the hospital that night. And he gets his hand in a cast and all that kind of. This is 2 weeks before WrestleMania 12. So I'm wondering how they're going to do the actual match now, right? So we get there 3 days before WrestleMania 12 for rehearsals. And Vince starts explaining what's going to happen. There's going to be your fight, then a match, and then we're going to pipe in the OJ chase scene, which is supposed to be Roddy Piper, right? So, and I'm chasing him, or he's chasing me down, and oh my God, they're coming to the pond in Anaheim. So I'm thinking to myself, and Vince didn't want to we were looking for a finish for this match because Vince didn't want to put the IC title on Roddy, but he didn't want he didn't want to put the IC title on Roddy, so we needed an out of this match. And I'm thinking to myself, and Vince is right there, and he's thinking, and he's a genius, man. But I had a genius moment right then. And I said, Vince, what if I go to one of those female stores and get some 6X large lingerie and put that on under my suit? And he thought for a minute, and his eyes got big, and he's like, God damn, that's good. And I'm like, okay. So me and Terry, we went and did the deal at the store, and I tried on a bunch of women's lingerie and had it. So he was explaining what the deal was what was gonna happen. The day comes, I gotta have my makeup. There was a little bit of blood from something. It might have been the glass, but I had to do my makeup just like it was 2 weeks. We were kind of dirty. So I did that, but I did everything in private so nobody could see. And we went and waited in the parking lot. Car in car, right? And what I'm supposed to do is when they give us the cue, when it's our time after all the segments, I drive down the ramp. I get out, leave the door open. Roddy waits 3 seconds before he comes and chases me down and clips the door as I'm running into the back of the arena. He didn't wait 3 seconds. I took off, he took off. And I'm like, man, give me some space, Jesus Christ. And I curled down the ramp, and I slammed the door open, but it was so fast because he was so close, I was scared. He would have killed me if I would have got out on that side. And the door slammed, and as soon as the door slammed back, he nailed the side, so I ended up crawling out the other side of the car and hightailing it into the arena where Marlena was waiting by the tunnel entrance. And I'm sitting there and I'm acting like I'm all tired and and here comes Roddy, and it backs me up into the arena, man, and oh my God, I'm in the arena now. What the holy shit? And all these people are booing their ass off, man, just going crazy. And I'm backing up. I'm like, oh, well, how did we end up here, honey? And all of a sudden, you heard the bagpipes hit. This place was so loud, man. I mean, it was incredible, incredibly loud. And he walks out with that thing he does, man, and he's taking it really slow, like he's just gonna kill me, man. And I mean, it's just walks all the way to the ring. We have our match. He ends up tearing my clothes off, and there I am with the lingerie on, which you can get some. There are some pictures of some crowd shots of that where they're going. There's no telling what my dad was doing at home, you know. It's like. And Marlena covers me up with the robe, and we get out of there, and that's how we got out of the match. And that was the WrestleMania 12 Backlot Brawl. Is that okay?